Hello everyone, hope all of you are having a wonderful day. This is going to be my second Genshin challenge and my third overall series. This is going to be IFA only. The main reason I'm doing this challenge is because I really like IFA as a character and think his exploration will make it very easy. The various rules of this challenge are that I can only use Aoife for combat and I can use other characters for totems and puzzles. So, for example, I can use the Traveler or someone else to break the rocks in the Cecilia Garden to unlock the domain. It doesn't have to be story only. So, without any delay, let's begin the challenge. First of all, it's Amber's Temple was pretty frustrating at certain times. Aside from forgetting to talk to Amber, we absolutely domeballed her and then set up the party in which we set up all the required members, which was, of course, just Aoife and Kakuku. Aoife has no problem getting this chest and getting out of it immediately, as well as having no problem in skipping these. He also has no problem in the enemies, and that's pretty easy. But the main problem of this temple was this specific skip. I failed it not once, not twice, but three whole times. So I just ran away from there and flew to the other side. I forgot to get that on footage, but moving on. We now start Lisa's temple, which was honestly the easiest one of the three. Aoife being tall male and having the ability to fly was totally destroying the escape. Last and definitely the least is Kaya's temple. His temple was so easy that I didn't even need to fly over the fire extinguishers and could easily get through the spikes. The longest part of this entire temple was this sick ass cutscene. Anyways, so after completing this temple and watching Kaya get absolutely mocked by Diluc, we begin the grind towards AR 15. During this grind, I not only unlocked the Adventurer's Handbook, but also went to Natlan and named the Natlan Saurian the only real name plausible and started Act 2.
Remember him. That he looked just like that guy down there.
Look at this dude.
So, if you're wondering on how I'm going to beat the Eye of the Storm with a solo Anemo Catalyst and no Eye of Perception, I'm just gonna drag the Eye of the Storm towards the lake and do a lot of damage with Hydrosaur because of my weapon. After absolutely fumbling the lyre, we sit through a really long loading screen and then start again a pretty easy section for a character that can literally fly. Aoife has no problems going through the wind current section, and the longest section of all of these quests was the loading section. After the second most drunkard Archon decides that it's time for a little alcohol break in the middle of a literal escapade, we decide to stop at the Angel Share and meet up with Dilu, who for some reason trusts two random thieves who have stolen the nation's most valuable treasure. Anyways, after sitting through a really long blank screen, I promise I was spamming the button, but it just didn't work. We decide to meet up with the local Batman and thank him after Venti goes on a little drinking break. After talking things out with D-Luke and proving ourselves to not be random thieves that stole the nation treasure for no reason at all and preventing us from getting beat up by the nation's Batman, Venti decides to bribe D-Luke with some top classified information, which seems to be very helpful. It seems like bribes work on anyone, including and excluding politicians. So, moving on from that, we for some reason have to exit the tavern, even though it's already nighttime. Again, as I said, the longest part with all of these quests is the loading screen, and don't worry, I'm pretty frustrated as due to this long wait for the loading screen. D-Luke decides to call in his girlfriend Jean, who is the leader of the organization he despises, which I guess makes for a real nice love triangle thing. Anyways, moving on from their terrible love life, or I guess good love life, we decided to punish the Fatui for stealing an object we were definitely not planning to steal, and would have definitely contacted Jean and D-Luke if we had the opportunity to steal it ourselves. After sitting through another hour long loading screen, we meet up with everyone at the Fatui camp hideout thing and set up our party, which is again just Kakuku and Ifa. It is called Ifa only for a reason. And again, the longest part of this domain was honestly not the loading screen this time, but the Fatui agent. Eva has no problems dealing with the enemy and negotiating. He is a really smooth talker after all. We then opened the door and talked to everyone in the four rooms because we definitely didn't have to do that, and it was definitely just my luck that I got all four rooms wrong every single time. Anyways, after the hour long lagging session, we decided to take the lift up and fight the akumatized Zhongli. He was honestly no problem for us because Ifa, if you didn't know, his skill tracks the Fatui agents even if they are invisible. I guess Kakuku has some heat seeking eyes or something. After moving on from that easy fight, again, it wasn't hard, but it just took long because I don't do damage since I have not leveled up my weapon. But even without leveling it up, he was really easy. After talking for a while for some reason, we not so quickly head to the Angel's Chair to meet up with everyone and discuss our plans for what to do with Tavalin. We went through another whole lot of yap, missing the iconic scene because I'm not playing in Japanese. We then repaired the Holy Lyre with a mechanic that will only be used once more for some reason. I don't know why they added so many new mechanics in like mondstat and never used them again, like the Davalin fight thing and the repairing thing. I would love to fight Davalin or someone else in a aircraft that makes you feel like you are fighting in a action RPG game. Moving on from that, we decide to collect Tavalin's tears instead of helping him get happy, I guess. We then fight the Ruin Guard, which, as you may expect from an Animo Catalyst who deals a decent amount of damage, has self sustain, was no problem at all. We then decide to teleport towards the Hilichurl camp and just walk through them to get the other tier because I'm not fighting the shield if I don't have to. We then go through this domain which I had unlocked when I was grinding to AR-15 because I knew we had to do this again. As always, the longest part of this domain was the loading screen because the final boss for this domain is a Pyro Abyss Mage who I tried to drag into this puddle but I couldn't, so I just decided to use my Anemo skill and defeat him instead. That's the good thing about running Ifa is that he can like pump out so much elemental damage, with him being a catalyst and his attacks doing a lot of anima damage and breaking a lot of shield. He also does a decent amount of damage, but I guess that's expected from being about 20 levels higher. We then gather his final tier and observe this absolutely gorgeous scenery, not the black screen, but like the monuments. After having a quick conversation with D. Luke, I take one last moment to appreciate this absolutely gorgeous feat of structure. and then move on to the Dawn Winery to meet up with D-Luke, Jean, and Venti, as if they haven't been screaming in my ear. At least D-Luke is quieter than Jean and Paimon, which makes it pretty easy to, control him and all. After meeting up with Venti and all of the others, we go through a bit of dialogue. Can't imagine it gets worse in Sumeru Act 2 and even worse in Not Cry. We do this thing for one last time and decide that it is time to head to Star Snatch Cliff to summon Dvalin, or I guess Storm Terror currently. Is he Storm Terror or Dvalin currently? Because Dvalin is his Anemo Dragon name and Storm Terror is more of a title than anything. Anyways, moving on from that conceptual debate, we decide to meet him and absolutely skip that. Secondly, though, I wanna say that having like picked Lumine, Ether looks so goofy as the Abyss Prince. Like Lumine suits that role a whole lot more. Again, moving on from that though, I didn't have to do any AR grinding since the grind up till AR 15 was already made me AR 18. But I decided to stop for that day and decide on doing it the other day. We meet up at the winery for like the 18th time and decide that the best way to beat the Valen is now to beat him up in one-on-one combat like any true Batman would ever do it. We then start the last act of Prologue, not Mondstat, which gave a rise to a whole heck of a theories about Mondstadt being the last nation because we are only going through the prologue. As I was saying, like an Anemo Catalyst is really good for dealing with Abyss shields, especially in the early game, and with a bit of dodging and ability to heal, I was able to end this fight with even more HP than I started with after heal stalling on the Abyss Mage. We then get shown what way to go as if the big pointer wasn't already enough and get through the Bright Crown Canyon. It was painful to leave that just behind, as my true exploration self would never allow that in my main account. But moving on from that, we decide on unlocking all three of the weird pillar things, light activators. Yeah, that's what they're called. Those things. I already got one of them and forgot to record the footage. No, I don't think I forgot. I think it got corrupted because, iPhone 8 shit. As I kept on saying that Anemo Catalyst is a really good combination for dealing with shields, especially since Ifa does a whole lot of damage and has self-sustain with his skill. He was easily able to defeat the Pyro Abyss mages with literally no difficulties at all and was even able to finish the fight at full health. We then got all three of these 3D Doritos and put them on the light actuator, which was able to get us 2 out of 3 of the light actuators activated after going through an unnecessary cutscene. Can't believe we have to go through that so much more in this journey. We go through the teleport waypoint that everyone hates and get to the final light actuator. I don't know if they are called light actuators, but I'm gonna keep on calling them light actuators because that's the only thing that's coming up in my head while I'm recording this. This one was definitely the longest one of all three of them, but that was mainly because of my stupidity and not knowing where the last one was. I was able to get the first two one pretty easily, but the third one took me like a solid minute to understand where it was. Anyways, moving on from that absolutely humiliating like performance, I got these two and kept searching for that, and on the process got this teleport waypoint, which will be really helpful in DNAC 2. I'm going to cut some footage for you guys before I realized where it was. After seeing the light, I don't know how long I missed that for. We get there and were easily able to complete it with Ifa. The other pro with EFAT is his shorter than average skill cooldown. Like him having only like a 8-second cooldown is so helpful. I tried to skip the cutscene but failed miserably since I got distracted and teleported to the Davon and boss fight. After going through this segment, that was really cool and I wish we get to do this again. I mean, my aim is bad, but that doesn't really matter. We went through the second to last loading screen, which was pretty short, and go through this amazing cutscene. Like, say whatever you want to say about Genshin, but their cutscenes are on point though, as well as the music. Like, I think you can complain to whoever's about anything and everything aside from their dope ass music. This fight was honestly the biggest hurdle for Ifa because it took him not one, as you can see, not two, not three, but four whole sections. After one day of doing that whole thing, I'm joking, of course, we went through another loading screen. I don't know why I had to go through two loading screens at once, but we meet up with Amber, who I have no idea where she was during all of the crisis that we were having. And does she know that we were technically criminals? But not right now. But moving on from that, we decide to destroy the barricades, whom I deal way more damage than I dealt to Tavalin. I know it's because he has a 25% animal resistance, but still. We meet up with the hottest, well, I guess second hottest, Fatui Harbinger. The eighth of the Fatui Harbingers, La Senora. After Venti gets the treatment that 50% of the Genshin community want from La Senora, he decides to show off his Anemo Archon's power, but not really, as we learned from the mondstat quest. He gets absolutely dunked on by Senora and gets the thing that he didn't want at all stolen by her. Then he gets his ability to have children absolutely destroyed by La Senora. We get absolutely no deft by the Fatui agent, who we were managed to easily defeat, like literally not even 30 minutes ago. We wake up to Barbara, who decides to help us even after we destroyed the Holy Liar, which she loves more than her life, I think. I don't know if that's true or not. I just made that up, but I'll not be surprised if that's the case. And with that, we complete the Act 3 of Mondstadt and Mondstadt as a whole. This in total took about 5 hours, 3 minutes, and 20 seconds. Hope you guys will stick towards part 2 and hope you have a nice day.